Roundtable Sports Network brings you NFL divisional debate coverage on a weekly basis from your favorite content creators across YouTube, featuring the AFC East Roundtable live Monday and Wednesday evenings, the AFC South Roundtable live Tuesdays at 7 p.m. EST, the NFC South Roundtable live Tuesdays at 7 p.m. EST, the NFC West Roundtable live Tuesdays at 9 p.m. EST. The AFC West Roundtable live Tuesdays at 9 p.m. EST. The NFC North Roundtable live Wednesdays at 6 p.m. EST. The AFC North Roundtable live Wednesdays at 6 p.m. EST. The NFC East Roundtable live Thursdays at 6 p.m. EST. Roundtable Sports. Real coverage from real fans.
NFC South Roundtable, how are we feeling today? It is your usual suspects back at it again with another live stream to break down everything that happened in Week 12. And it might be the holidays, but you know what? Everybody here at Roundtable Sports, especially all the boys here at the NFC South Roundtable, nah. We're not heading out for the holidays. We are here to stay to give you the best damn content on the platform, baby. Of course, today's video brought to you by BetUS. We'll talk to you guys a little bit later how you can get a limited time exclusive offer from them. But as we know from last week, there's only two games that we have to get into today. That is the Panthers game, and that is the Buccaneers game, because you had TJ, you had Smitty, both on bye weeks. But before we get into those games, we want to go around the panel, see how these guys are doing after Week 12 and their bye. So, Clay, let's start with you, man. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. I mean, I have a lot to be thankful for at this time right now. I mean, seriously, it was a moral victory, but honestly, I was shocked. I mean, y'all, when we did this show last week, I didn't predict him to be close. I think I said 34-17 was going to be the score. We came out and we went toe to toe with one amongst the best, but people are also questioning, are the Chiefs overrated? Did Carolina expose them? There's a lot of that out there. Again, at the end of the day, this is the NFL. It's any given Sunday, man. And hey, I'm loving it. I love what I saw on Sunday. I can't wait to dive into this with you guys. So shout out to everyone watching.
Yes, sir. James, man, how you doing?
Good, man. Good. It felt good to, finally get back in the freaking win column. So that was a positive. Can't wait to dive into it. Obviously, happy holidays to everybody who's celebrating Thanksgiving coming up here on Thursday, and then of course with the Black Friday shopping and everything as well. So very festive time for everybody. So as always, happy to be here.
Yeah, man, James, and despite how you've been feeling over the last few weeks, you guys still have an opportunity to take the division before the end of the season and still have an opportunity to make the playoffs. You got Mike Evans back here now, so he might be on the outside looking in right now, but there is still a chance to do both things that you wanted to do this season. You got to have at least a level of hope, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is a big if. There is still got to be some stuff that goes the Bucs' way. We'll see if that does happen, but one step at a time, right? I would say just in the immediate sense, it just feels nice to get a win again. So,
yeah, man, for sure. Let's go down to you, TJ. How you doing on this bye week, man?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. It's always great to actually watch some games because sometimes when you're a fan of a team or you analyze a team, you feel like some of the issues and the problems are just happening to your team. So just to be able to look around the landscape of the National Football League and see how some of these teams are doing it from a positive or negative perspective was great. I mean, I got opportunity to watch some really good football games. I mean, that Cowboys Commanders game, I mean, that was a shocker. I mean, that was unbelievable to watch. I mean, as well as the Carolina Panthers game, which was a pleasant surprise, which we'll get into a little bit later. But all in all, man, you can tell that playoff football is just around the corner the way that some of these teams are approaching the game. So feeling great, man, and happy early Thanksgiving to all of you, man, as well as the individuals in the chat right now, man. Thank y'all for stopping by.
Yes, sir. Again, big shout out to everybody that's tuning in during the holidays. Not everybody at Roundtable Sports has a show this week, but I'm super happy that my roundtables are still out here having a show, doing their job, pushing through the holiday week. And a lot of people are traveling. I was out today, a lot of people on the road. So everybody stay safe. But hopefully, whether you're on a plane, a train, in your car, you are listening here to the NFC South Roundtable, whether that is live here on YouTube or on Spotify. You guys can also listen to us. Make sure you guys follow us there, rate us, review us. But Smitty, how are you feeling after that bye?
Hey, I'm feeling good, man. We got updates from the coach, man. To me, it was positive, but we'll see what happens when they take the field on Sunday against the Chargers, man. But, happy Thanksgiving to the people out there watching this show, man. This is one of my favorite holidays because y'all know I love to eat. And look, football and food go together because we got some good Thanksgiving games, man. But Sunday, man, we're going to get into it. But like TJ said, I love watching other teams other than my own. So there were some great games. The Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Browns, which was not a surprise because the Browns got bad quarterback play all season, but they have talent. You talk about it, like he said, the Cowboys and the Commanders, that game was crazy. I was glued to TV. Man, look, upcoming good game this upcoming week. Enjoyed the bye week. Let's just see what happens in the second half.
Guys, I want to do one more thing because I feel like this week it's special, right? It's the holidays. We got Thanksgiving. We got Black Friday. Maybe a little bit more of a mellow episode. We only got 2 games to get into. So before we do that, I want to do something. We'll do something fun. Maybe we'll do something too for Christmas for our final show before we head into the Christmas and New Year's. But I want to go around the table and I want to know 3. You're at the Thanksgiving table. 3 people, dead or alive, that you would bring to your Thanksgiving table. I'm putting you guys on the spot right now. But I want to know, I think this gives an opportunity for your fans, for the audience, to get to know you guys a little bit more. It doesn't have to be sports, anybody, family, musician, sports, anybody dead or alive. Clay, let's start with you. 3 people.
Oh, my God.
On the spot.
Shouldn't be at the top of the screen, man.
This is tough. All right, three people. Okay. Fuck. Sorry.
Clay just wants himself at the
We're gonna be here a while, folks.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, you're gonna have to give me some thought on this. If someone can go besides me, because
all right, James, you got yours?
Yeah, give me let me get pop legend Michael Jackson, King of Pop.
Hey.
Let me get Tom Brady.
Oh my.
And
Tom Brady, yes.
Final one. Let me get we'll go another musician. I guess I'll throw Elvis Presley in there. Why not? That'd be a fun
okay. I'm going to James' Thanksgiving dinner. Are you kidding me? So somebody asked me this, Connor, who does a lot of work for Roundtable Sports. He asked me the same question when we did a live stream the other week. I was like, oh, shoot. I said like Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, and Chris Brown. I was like, oh, on the spot. This is tough. What about you, TJ? Who are you taking? I feel like TJ is going to have some good ones.
Man, okay. So, man, I'm really big on broadcasting. So, number one, I would bring the legendary Howard Cosell. Okay. I'm big on sports, man. Another one would be the legendary Walter Cronkite, and from a sports perspective, Chris Berman. Chris Berman. Man.
Oh hell yeah, I like that.
Good one.
Can you imagine a dinner with Chris Berman, man? I mean, who wasn't outside as a kid, like running and just reenacting as if they making some shake moves and saying they could go all the way. I mean, so to me, Chris Berman would be great, man. I mean, I'm a big broadcasting guy, man, because I love the pioneers and some of the calls and the way that some of those guys actually paved the way in the world of sports and as well as journalism, man. So those are my 3 guys.
Oh, all right, Smitty, let's go on over to you.
Good ones, man. But I had John Madden on my list, man. Because,
yeah.
With John Madden, boy, that would be golden. Another guy I would look at, and I'm sports related as well. Deion Sanders, man. I have uncles in the family that act just like that dude, so he would be right at home in my family. So Deion would be another one. I like that Chris Berman, man, but if I had to say a musician, that's I would love to see Michael Jackson, at a family function, but I gotta say Prince, because Prince play every single instrument that you can think of. If anybody in the family get to singing, he gonna pull out a guitar. If your auntie get to singing, he gonna start playing the piano. So yeah, Prince, man, all day long.
I got my 3 now.
All right. Let's go.
there we
Let's
go.
go back to Clay. Let's see what Clay's got here.
My number 1, and he was just because I grew up playing the sport. Roger Federer.
Okay.
And then my next one would be Tiger Woods for sure.
Okay.
And then, not to get sentimental, but my dad.
Okay.
My dad.
I like that.
I'm gonna switch out mine. Instead of Elvis, I want to bring Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson.
Booty cheeks and all.
Yeah, because I know he's gonna pull some crazy stuff. I know he's gonna pull something crazy
good stuff too, so you're gonna eat a lot,
dude. He's gonna come in, give you a kiss on the forehead, tell you he loves you, and he's gonna tell you to sit down and eat his damn food.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a fight break out at the table. Somebody is gonna get bit off.
Oh yeah.
Hey man,
I want to sell one of mine out too. I want to sell one of mine out too. The late great Stuart Scott.
Ooh,
yeah, Stuart.
That's
Scott,
a good
man.
one.
Yeah,
ooh, all right. Well, guys, we want to know from you. Whose table are you picking? Are you picking Clay's? Are you picking James, TJ, or Smitty? And we also want to hear from you guys. Who are 3 people, dead or alive, anybody in the world that you would have at your Thanksgiving table? Let us know in the live chat. And if you're watching back, let us know in the comment section below. But fellas, before we continue on today's video, want to give a massive shout out to the sponsors of this video over at BetUS. When you guys use the promo code that you see on the screen, YouTube150, that is YouTube150, you will grandfather yourself into a limited time exclusive offer of a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit, followed by a 125% sign-up bonus on your next 2 deposits, all the way up to $2,000. Remember that supporting the sponsors that support the channel does support everybody here at the NFC South Roundtable and everybody at Roundtable Sports. We could not be growing this brand. We could not be doing the things we're doing, having on your favorite creators every single week without the support of these sponsors. BetUS can also give you a 200% crypto deposit bonus, 10% back on your net losses 2 times a year, which is something no other sportsbook has ever done and will ever do. And BetUS is changing the game completely because you can now get your very own personalized account manager. You can also bet on all live games with BetUS. They have the best betting variety in the business. I'm not just talking about NFL games with weekly picks, player props, but also NFL futures, the NFL draft, NFL awards. You can bet on college football, basketball, baseball, horse racing, fighting, politics, entertainment. They have the best betting variety in the business, you guys. If you think it's something you can bet on, I promise you that BetUS is going to have it. I mean, the fact that they had, and I know I mentioned this before, but the fact that they had odds on how many years Diddy was going to serve in prison, I promise you they have every single odd you could possibly imagine. So shout out to BetUS. Play smart, play responsible, never bet more than you can afford to lose. But of course, thank you to BetUS for sponsoring today's video. But fellas, I want to go ahead. I want to start getting into these games from week 12. And Clay, I want to start with you because we were talking a little bit off the scenes about, is this Bryce Young finally coming into himself? Pause. But is this kind of the turnaround? Is this the turnaround we're finally seeing from Bryce Young? You sit him for a little bit. Maybe that's what he needed the entire time. You almost beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Man, break this down for me.
I mean, Bryce looked, I'm just going to say this. Bryce Young looked like the real deal. He looked like the Bama Bryce that we drafted him to be number 1 overall. And the only reason that, and he was actually the only reason Carolina was in this game. He was making plays with his arms. He was making plays with his legs. He was staying poised in the pocket. He was throwing on and off platform. He was making throws where it needed to be placed. He was placing them efficiently. And he was slinging it. He was very aggressive with the ball. There was a stat out there that said that 32% of his throws are aggressive throws. And there was a lot of drops in this game. Like Xavier Legette had one down the sideline that could have sealed the deal. He had Tommy Tremble in the end zone, a jump ball that really was right in his hands, perfectly placed. And there was some creativity in this game. I need to see more creativity from Dave Canales, but Bryce Young did his thing in this game. I mean, 21 for 35, 263 and a touchdown. And he was taking on the pressure too, and he was beating the blitz. That was the biggest thing in this game. he was sitting in the pocket on these blitzes and taking hits and making throws. And that's what you want to see from your quarterback, staying in there and not folding like a cheap tent. And he was just standing in there and just dialing it up. So, I tell you what, this is the best game by far in his career. He actually looked like a Heisman winning quarterback that we all thought he could be. Like I said, his poise, his actually decision making, it was full display. And it's a hell of a lot better than what we've seen, from the first 2 weeks of the season, right? And it's clear to me that Dave Canales finally confirmed what we all knew, is Bryce is going to be the starter moving forward, and as he should be. And I've been believing in that since Dalton's the Commanders game, and it's about time, because this is Bryce's show now. And is he going to be the future of this franchise? I don't know. But if this guy in the past 4 weeks has been very consistent, and another thing, here's another crazy stat. Bryce Young's only the 5th quarterback this year to go 75% on third down conversions against the Chiefs. And that's 5 other quarterbacks in that was Brock Purdy, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, and I want to say Josh Allen was those 4. So, I mean, I got to give credit where credit's due to Bryce. He kept us in this game. Our defense, they did good for the most part. It's starting to come alive a little bit, but barely. I still think there's a lot of work to do on the defensive side of the ball, especially in the secondary. Poor tackling. A lot of guys were taking a lot of bad angles. There was no containment, but we were starting to get pressure. In this game, we sacked Patrick Mahomes 5 times. DJ Wanham has been an absolute godsend. JC Horn did his thing. Between Clowney and DJ Wanham, they notched 3.5 sacks out of the 5. So there's definitely flashes there. The defense secondary has to just get better, and these corners have to get better at tackling. Besides, the only person that's doing his job in the secondary as of right now is JC Horn, and he still looks like one of the top corners in the NFL. But again, it's a moral victory, but a loss is a loss. But at the end of the day, I don't know how much more I could have asked for a team that was going into this game 3-7 against a Kansas City Chiefs that was very pissed off after they just lost to the Buffalo Bills. But at the end of the day, it's progress. And again, that's all I could ask for.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, 263 yards, a touchdown, 0 interceptions, overall quarterback rating of 92.9 against the second best defense in the NFL with a veteran defensive coordinator. I think that says a lot. But before we get into these guys' thoughts, want to get into your super chats because you guys are being generous during this holiday season. Justin comes in with a $2 donation and says, "Go Bucks." We then have Houdat for Life coming in with a $5 donation and says, "Unfortunately, the Phalanta Falcons, Buccaneers, and formerly Kittens McCaffreys are starving these holidays." Hashtag Houdat, hashtag Kirko, fake ass chains, man. You Saints fans, every single
the Kirk
week,
one's messed up. Good lord. Wow. you don't gotta call Kirk's chains fake. Jesus.
Kirko plastic chains. That's what you should have said. Man, shout out though to Justin and shout out Houdat for Life for supporting the channel. But all right, let's get into you, James. What did you think about the Panthers and Chiefs game?
Well, one, I'm so sorry to Panthers fans and Clay for suggesting that the Chiefs would drop 50 in this game. I was wrong. I was very wrong. And look, you want to talk about momentum. The Panthers have got a lot of momentum right now. I mean, look, they've won 2 out of their last 3 games, 1 against the division rival in the Saints, 1 against the New York Giants. And now they go toe-to-toe with the Kansas City Chiefs. And I know that a lot of people have a lot of thoughts and opinions about the Chiefs this year, about how they're not as good as their record shows and things along those lines. And I do understand that. But here's a fact. This is the back-to-back champion Kansas City Chiefs, right? Mm-hmm. Patrick Mahomes is still their quarterback. Travis Kelce is still out there at tight end. The defense still has guys like Chris Jones and Steve Spagnuolo calling plays. And this is still a Carolina Panthers team that took them all the way down to the wire, literally almost went to overtime. And who knows what would have happened then before Patrick Mahomes did, Patrick Mahomes-esque things and had a crazy scramble at the end of the game. So, yeah, and I know that, and trust me, we've been saying this about the Bucs a lot this year. Like, hey, gosh golly, they played close, but this context feels different, right? Because nobody counted Carolina in this game. Heck, us here at the NFC South Roundtable didn't count Carolina in this game. I don't believe any of us took Carolina to win this game. So for them to not only be competitive, but take it all the way to the end, right? Till the very last seconds, where the Kansas City Chiefs, the 9-1 at the time, Kansas City Chiefs, has to put Carolina away with a field goal in closing seconds. That's a big tip of the hat to Carolina, and really this turnaround that they've had in the past 3 weeks. Again, like, you're looking at a team that was losing 40-7, 38-20, 36-10, just about a month and a half ago, to getting 2 wins out of the last 3 games and being just 30-40 seconds away from going to overtime against the 2-time defending champ. So, like, really intrigued about this turnaround from Carolina right now. I think that there's a lot of things to be impressed with the Panthers and happy with. If you are a Carolina Panthers fan, Bryce Young seems like he's slowly starting to get it together. The team is you're seeing just more fire out of them, I think, on both sides of the football. That's positive things, because it could have easily went the opposite way, right? So that is a kudos to the leadership in this organization to rally these players together, to not just completely collapse and bottom out throughout the remainder of this season, but instead work extremely hard to turn these things around and show some signs of life. Even in the case of Bryce Young, like, you know, I know we'd mentioned it, but like, is he back? Well, we don't have the full answer on that yet, but he's certainly trying to make his case, and he's not absolutely floundering in doing so. So Carolina is getting more and more interesting as the weeks are progressing, in my opinion. And I think that slowly but surely Panthers fans are having a lot more to look forward to going forward than they did even, again, a month ago.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, if you're a Panthers fan, you're not expecting to make some like last-minute miraculous run at winning the division or going to the playoffs, but you're kind of at a standpoint where I kind of think the Patriots are too, and that's how can you finish the season? Because I say this all the time on every show that I'm on. I say that the mental side, the momentum side of football is just as important as the physical side. And if you can get your team bought in and motivated, it makes a world of difference, because they start playing as a unit. And at the end of the day, playing as a unit is much better than having a team that is stacked with talent but doesn't play together. They don't play cohesively. So I think this comes down to, for the Panthers, how many wins can they get, and what is the momentum that they're going to carry into the 2025 offseason? Big shout out to Who Dat for Life coming back in with a $2 donation. Says, Kirko Claw Machine Chains. Still coming at Kirko, Who Dat. Still coming at Kirko. I love it. Bring in the heat. But TJ, let's go down to you.
Coming up with this shit.
He's doing good. He has a book of these things. Just flipping the page. All right, Falcons. All right, what do I got? But let's go down to TJ.
Like
He need to worry about that broken down cut. That's what he need to worry about.
Oh, Smitty! Woo, coming back at it. All right, TJ, what do you think about this game?
Man, look, I already told y'all I ain't got nothing bad to say about Bryce Young. Bryce Young could have threw 4 interceptions, and I still would have been lobbying for him. This man is out here doing God's work, getting Dennis Allen fired. The moment that happened, like, he could do no wrong in my eyes. But But in all seriousness, man, like, you got to be proud if you're a Carolina Panthers fan at the effort that your team put towards. I mean, nobody expected for the Carolina Panthers to keep this thing competitive throughout. I mean, we all said during the prediction show that this was pretty much going to be a blowout, going to be over by the second quarter. But kudos to those guys, because they didn't give up, they didn't quit. And the most important thing is they rallied around one another. And what you're seeing, if you're a Carolina Panthers fan, you're seeing a young group of players growing up together. You know, I can think about back in 2017 when I was watching the New Orleans Saints, when I seen a young Alvin Kamara, a young Marshawn Lattimore, a young Marcus Williams. I mean, those guys were growing together, and as the times went on, they started to win double-digit games because of those guys' effort. When you're looking at Bryce Young, you know, I mean, yeah, coming into his own, you're looking at a Chuba Hubbard. I mean, he got the contract extension. He's motivated because the team trusted in him. Jatavian Sanders, prayers up for that brother. I mean, that was a pretty scary injury right there. Hopefully he's okay. but he's making plays. David Moore is out there going up against Trent McDuffie, an all-pro, and was getting the best of them too. And when you're looking at that, man, how can you not be confident in a football team? And this is the best thing about it. Kansas City fans cannot say, man, we weren't trying to beat y'all. No, they were trying to beat the Carolina Panthers. They were trying to put their stamp on this game. They were upset. They were ticked off the way that game transpired in Buffalo, losing that game, first game of the season. They thought that this was going to be a game where they were going to slap around the Carolina Panthers. Oh, we're rolling to Charlotte. Let's slap around these guys just a little bit, and let's feel good about ourselves. I mean, yes, Patrick Mahomes had 3 touchdowns, and yes, you've seen some things kind of transpire offensively, but they wanted to dominate this football game, and Carolina didn't let them. And there were opportunities where the game could have got out of hand, but Bryce Young was able to facilitate drives, get down to the red zone. They were able to cash in. You know, they got some field goals, but they were able to get points on the board. So to me, I think that this is the start of possibly something special, you know, especially when you have these young guys and they have something that a lot of teams wish they could have. They got some young players that are going to be playing on rookie deals. And if these guys can develop, man, you can actually build a team around them and be competitive in the NFC South. I think that they got the right coach. If Bryce Young continues to build, I think they got the right quarterback. You already got the right running back. And I think you have a nice cast of receivers. I think you need to get a little bit better on the defensive side of football. Derek Brown, when he comes back, he'll add something to that. But I also think they need some help when it comes to pass rush consistently and maybe some help in the secondary. But all in all, I was impressed at what I saw. I thought that this was going to be a blowout, but credit to Carolina, did not quit, did not give up. And I don't think that this was just an outlier. I think that if they go up against a competitive football team, going forward, don't be surprised if Carolina knock them off. And I don't know if I think they got to play at Atlanta again. I think they got to play a couple more teams that are, vying for a playoff spot. Don't be surprised if you see the Carolina Panthers shock the world in a couple of these games, because that wasn't a mistake. I mean, they took it to the Kansas City Chiefs. And when you have that type of confidence, like, man, we're going toe-to-toe with the world champs, and we almost got to the decision with them. I mean, sky's the limit for these guys. That's how confidence is built.
100%. Smitty, what do you think?
Yeah, and it's just Dave Canales put his blueprint on this team, man. Once you've gotten so far in the season, you start to see these coaches and how they coach. It starts to show on the field with these players. It's just like they said, he's just not giving up. He's giving them that mentality. Yeah, we have a losing record, but we can still play and get that mindset to going, to where we want to win games. So going down the stretch, they're 3-8 right now. So they could still end up with 6 or 7 wins and go into next season with a positive outlook. And that's all you can ask for with a rebuilding team. And Bryce Young, to see him have command of the offense, finally, we've been clowning him all season, but it tells you that Dave Canales has been working with him in the film room. He's been working with him on the practice field, and, he could develop and keep developing and take control of this offense for good and become the quarterback of the future. You look at Leggett, like you said, with that drop pass, that could have sealed the game, but that's a growing lesson, and they're going to learn from that. David Moore, like you said, 81 yards. You can't ask for nothing more from a young team. Holding Patrick Mahomes to 269 yards, to me, was a win as well. That 33-yard run, if that does not happen, I think Carolina finds a way to win the football game. So it's positive all the way through this. And again, it's just Canales put his blueprint on this team. He's going to keep building through the draft, and they have a positive future.
Well, guys, let us know what you think in the comment section below about this game. Are the Panthers real? Is Bryce Young here? We want to hear from you in the comment section below. But let's get into our next and final game to recap here from Week 12. That is the Buccaneers and the Giants. First game without Daniel Jones. You had Tommy DeVito, and you guys went in there and you won confidently, blowing them out 30-7. James, talk to me about this.
Yeah, I mean, great just complete win for the Bucs, right? offensively, defensively, you saw a lot of good stuff, right? Now, I know that this is an organization in the Giants that literally went from having their former top 10 overall pick on their team to benching him and then releasing him all in about the span of like 3 to 4 days. So I get that. And, they are definitely a team that's in free fall right now. But this is a type of game where it's like, okay, then you would hope that the Bucs should be able to win like this against a team like that if they are trying to be a legitimate team battling for a playoff spot, and that's what happened, thankfully. Offensively, Baker Mayfield, I thought, had a really, really good game. I think the dude's just a dog. I mean, he shows great pocket awareness, extending plays, was very accurate with the football in that game. Passed to a lot of different players. I believe the 11 different players had a catch in that game against the Giants. The only other time that happened for the Bucs recently was back against the Detroit Lions whenever Tom Brady was the quarterback. So, that was a good thing to see. All three of the running backs scored a rushing touchdown in this game. I'm talking about Bucky Irving. He had a really nice 56-yard run later in the game as well. Rashad White, Sean Tucker, the third running back, and then even Baker Mayfield had a rushing touchdown and was spam taunting the Giants crowd with the Tommy DeVito Italian thing, awesome. which was pretty fun. So you could just tell that they were playing loose. They were playing like they were having fun. You saw a little bit of life in the pass rush on the defensive side of the ball. Now, a lot of that was from guys like Vita Vea and Kalijah Kancey on the defensive line, which the Bucs actually have 32 sacks this year. And I believe 18 of them are from the defensive line. I think like 7.5 are from the outside edge rushing linebackers. So it doesn't, and I believe the rest are in like the secondary and inside linebackers and whatnot. But that obviously still goes to say, like, okay, the defensive line is doing a good job of getting pressure. And that's obviously guys like Kalijah Kancey and Vita Vea, but you're still worried about those edge rushers. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka left that game with an ankle injury. Safety Jordan Whitehead left that game with a pec injury. So they're still dealing with some more injuries, even in a game like this. But overall, again, to kind of circle it back, it was a very good win for the Bucs. Again, we've talked about it here on the show. Very difficult month and a half, just in terms of 4 straight losses, losing 5 out of your last 6. So to come back out of the bye week and win is great because, one, it shows that this team still has a lot of fight, and they're still very confident. Whereas if the reverse happened, you're pretty much thinking about, okay, one season's over and there's going to be some big changes, right? And that didn't happen. So kudos to the leadership in that locker room and the coaching staff to get that team prepared, and to be able to go out there and get a dominating win. Now there's still some questions, right? There's still going to be, you still have to keep on winning going forward. I think it'd be foolish to go and say, oh, they're back, baby. But, I think it is still 100% a positive thing. So a very, very good win.
Mm-hmm. And before we get into your guys' thoughts, we do have another $2 donation from Who Dat for Life. Says, Kirko knock off from a corner store chains. Man, you got to keep these up. I don't know how much more you have left, but I want the entire book.
It has to be used in Chat GPT at this point.
Dude, yeah, something like the little Snapchat AI. Just like, all right, give me another give me another comeback about the Falcons. Just comes up with the total list of it. Dude, yeah, these are good. These are creative, man. These are creative. I'm gonna write them down in a book, and whenever my team plays the Falcons, I'm gonna be like, all right, going down the list. Which one do I want to use today? But shout out to Who Dat for Life for supporting the channel. Man, he's actually saying it's off the top of his head. Off the top of his head. So this is all based off of creation. Shout out to Who Dat for Life, man. Damn. TJ, let's go down to you. What'd you think about the Bucs game?
Yeah, I think, no disrespect, James, but I feel like this was more about the Giants than it was about Tampa. Yeah, I mean, Tampa, they were able to get right, it felt good to get a victory, but I honestly feel like it was more about the Giants than it was about Tampa. But Tampa didn't really show me anything that I ain't already know. I think that they're led by their running game. I think that they have some really talented guys. Bucky Irving, to me, is one of the most underrated running backs in the league. He reminds me a lot of Shady McCoy, man, like the way that he's so elusive. And he gets those yards, after contact. I think that Mike Evans coming back, that's great. And also, just the connection that Baker had with Cade Otton, you know, why Mike Evans has been out, you know, is a plus. And also, you know, that's what going up against bad teams can do for you. It can help you to be able to, number one, feel good about yourself with a win, and also be able to correct some things that went wrong over the last couple of weeks. But all in all, I like what I saw. That's what they were supposed to do. We said on a prediction that we felt that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should beat the Giants. If they didn't, then, you know, there was some heads need to be rolled in Tampa, especially when it comes to Todd Bowles. So I think that this game told us that they still are kind of playing for them. They didn't lay down. But I mean, this kind of reminds me, James, of the game where Tampa played the Saints and they dropped 51 on them. It just seems like the Giants are just out on Brian Daboll and the things that he actually believes. Those guys kind of quit. I mean, you can kind of see what was going on in the locker room after the game. And like I said, I'm not taking anything from Tampa. I just think that Tampa did what they needed to do. This is what teams supposed to do when you see a team teetering. Go up in there, knock them out, and let the chip fall where they may. But I thought it was impressive. I like what I saw from the running game. And I like the warrior spirit of Baker. And I'm telling you right now, guys, when they look at film the next day and they see Bucky Urban running down the field and they see their quarterback and Baker Mayfield giving a block in order for him to get 10 more yards, man, nothing gets a team more fired up than seeing their quarterback putting himself out there like that, because y'all know how they feel about quarterbacks. Oh, they can't get hurt. They can't get touched. I mean, but he was out there balling, man, and he was absorbing some blows, man. That scramble he had for that rushing touchdown and that block, I think those are two indicators that Baker Mayfield he's probably, you know, that top guy on his team that the players on his team love, man, because not many quarterbacks are going to be rushing down the field throwing a block for their running back. So respect to Baker Mayfield and credit to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man.
Yeah, for sure. Smitty, what about you? What do you
I
think
agree
about
wholeheartedly, man. It was just the Giants, just a bad team right now. I really don't know what the hell they drinking in that water in New York, but the Jets and Giants, both of those teams are bad. And for Tampa Bay to come out off the bye week with 450 yards of total offense, like you said, it's going to get them confidence going forward, man. Baker Mayfield, we talked about earlier in the year, possibly MVP conversation. If he keeps playing like this and get those touchdowns back going again, we could see exactly that. Three-headed monster at running back. That's hard to stop for anybody. And you talked about Bucky Irvin. I think he's, to me, closer to a Bijan Robinson type running back.
You think so?
Has that. Yeah, he has that game-breaking ability. He can catch the ball out the backfield. He can run clean routes. So, yeah, Tampa Bay has the tools. All they have to do is just keep putting it together every week. You get a Mike Evans back. You talk about the defensive side of the ball. Yeah, they have a lot of injuries, but Kalijah Kancey just keep stepping up. He had a sack, a forced fumble, and 4 tackles in this game. And I think he's going to be the future of that defensive line, because as he grows in this defense, I think he's going to be one of the better interior linemen in the NFL in a couple of years. So all they have to do is just keep building talent, keep filling spots. And, you know, Joe Schlinker, Tryon, I think he's been a bust so far. I hate to see him go down with that injury, but, you know, it might be his saving grace for him to move on to a new scene and get a fresh start, man, because I don't think Tampa has done him any favors. But Tampa Bay as a team, man, and the NFC South as a whole, seems like everybody is building up momentum. So maybe this division could be one of the best in football again in the next year or two.
All right, Clay, let's go up to you and finish us off with our recaps here for Week 12.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep this short and sweet. And it's no disrespect to the Bucs. Like, I knew that the Bucs were gonna beat the Giants, so that's not disrespectful. But they didn't just they annihilated the Giants, and you know, I think it's a good like momentum swing for the Bucs, right? They needed a win like this to kind of give themselves that confidence back. But for me right now, I just have no faith in Todd Bowles. I just don't. Like, it just is still the thing that he's too conservative to a fault. And to me, his decision-making often feels like it's like coming from a magic 8-ball. Like, he's just shaking it and saying, okay, what play should I run? Like, it's like, and I don't understand it, because it's so frustrating to watch the Bucs because they have so much talent. just like Smitty said. I think Bucky Irving is just as good as Bijan Robinson. All right. He's not just better on the, good on the ground. He's lethal in the pass catching. So, another thing is you take out your studs for half the game, like Vita Vea, Kalijah Cansey, Yaya Diaby. Like, why are you sitting them for half the game? Like, this isn't Pee Wee football where everyone gets equal snaps. Like, that didn't make any sense to me either. They won. But at the end of the day, I have a lot of questions about Todd Bowles and his coaching. The real test, though, going forward for Tampa Bay will be, can they carry this momentum into games? And that actually matter. Like, the talent is there for sure. The urgency, is it there? I don't know. All right. And the playoff door is still cracked open, but it's time for Bowles and Cohen and the rest of that crew, for me, if I was a Tampa Bay fan, to stop screwing around and take this team to the finish line.
I'm gonna say this. Let me jump in just for a second.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
I don't think Lynn Cohen is the problem. As a matter of fact, I think if it don't pan out with Todd Bowles, I wouldn't be surprised if Lynn Cohen ended up being the head coach. Like he has that team going in the right direction offensively, but that's the issue. Yeah. Have y'all noticed that though with the defensive minded coaches? They're conservative. Yep. They always have like this weird rotation. They don't rely on those group of players, that can be able to get that pass rush consistently. I don't know what it is about these defensive coach. Yeah, like we was talking about with Jimmy Lake, Smitty.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, it's a well, firstly, yeah, in the case of Liam Cohen, I think he's been great. I mean, I think he has been great for the Bucs. It's one of the reasons why you've seen a lot of success with like Cade Otton and the running backs and whatnot. Like, right. I think Liam Cohen's, and even with Baker Mayfield, like I thought that Canales was a good offensive coordinator last year. I think Liam Cohen's a great offensive coordinator this year. I just think there's been
more creative.
Now, part of that, I believe he is a bit, a good bit more creative, and part of that may be to do with personnel. I don't know how or why, but Canales can get a running game going for the Panthers like nobody's business. He couldn't do that for the Bucs, So it's like, what changed? Is it just Bucky Irving? Because Rachaad White's still here, Sean Tucker's still here, Baker Mayfield's still here. So like, maybe it's just some changes of personnel. Why Canales is having a bit more success running the ball in Carolina versus Tampa Bay, but
scheme fit matters.
For sure. But yeah, no, that's why I mentioned like, hey, look, it's a great win. A lot of people say it's a get right win, and hopefully that is the case. But again, it is important. Like, grain of salt, it is the Giants, right? And going forward, the only team the Bucs play with a winning record so far, like left, is the Los Angeles Chargers. So. They are going to have hopefully a bit of an easier schedule as well going forward. But to everybody's point, you would hope that a team like Tampa, if they are legitimate and want to be a legitimate competing team for a playoff spot, they should be winning games like that. So definitely, take these wins with a grain of salt to a certain degree for sure. And I agree with Clay with Bowles. It's still a little bit like, this win's nice, but that's why I mentioned at the top of the talking about the game, like the Giants literally are in free fall, like they're playing like they do not have a lot of answers right now. They literally just benched and then released their starting quarterback for the past 6 years and played undrafted free agent Tommy DeVito, which is fun for the memes, but
over a veteran Drew Lock at that.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, it's I still do worry a smidge about the defense. There for sure there were some positives like Kalijah Cansey, like Vita Vea. That's why I mentioned the edge rushers. Smitty, you mentioned JTS. That's those edge rushers are still concerning. The secondary is getting a bit healthier in some ways. They had Jamel Dean back, but now you just lost Jordan Whitehead. Right. You signed Mike Edwards, which, he's done good stuff for the Bucs in the past as well. But I mean, I would still say good win, but like this defense still has a lot to prove. I still think Todd Bowles has a lot to prove here. Again, like the Bucs aren't 8-4 or whatever, or 10-1 or whatever it may be. They're 5-6 at the end of the day. So it's they still have a lot to prove, I believe.
Yeah, James, I think that's also an excellent segue too. Go ahead, Smitty, real quick.
When you talk about coaching, the Bucs have been known to just promote coaches within the ranks of their organization. They don't go out and find coaches in free agency. So, to y'all point, he may be the next coach, Liam Cohen. He may be the next coach for real.
Interesting. Definitely something to watch. But James, I think that's an excellent segue into just real quick looking at, not to cut you guys off, do we have a better graphic in here? I think they switched it. So I don't think we have the... Oh, okay, this works. We'll do this one. So this is your current updated standings here for the NFC South after week 12. So the Falcons, they are still at the top at 6-5, but it's only a 1-game difference between them and the second place Buccaneers at 5-6. That also is just a 1-game separation from 2 to 3 between the Buccaneers and the Saints, who are 4-7. And then that is a 1-game separation too between 3 and 4 Saints and Panthers, with the Panthers at 3-8. So really looks like this still could be, I don't want to say anybody's game, because obviously we know the Panthers are not going to win it. It's pretty unlikely the Saints end up winning it. But for the Falcons, for the Buccaneers, this thing is still wide open. But in terms of placement from 1 to 4, this really could go anyway. Let's go around the table real quick and just get our current thoughts and maybe even predictions on where this kind of goes moving forward. Clay, we'll start with you.
Yeah, on my show the other day, I predicted the rest of the schedule for the Panthers. And so I think they're going to end up with 6 wins. I predicted that actually at the beginning of the season. So I still think 6 wins is doable. As for the Saints, I kind of see them in that 6-7 win kind of category. I mean, their schedule is very similar. I feel like at the end for us, like us, kind of sort of. The Bucs and the Falcons, man, it's gonna be interesting. I think this is gonna be closer than what people think, because just like James alluded to, there's only one team that they have to play left on their schedule with a winning record. So that has to make Falcons fans wonder, like, how many wins can this Bucs team get, right? And can they continue this momentum forward? For me, I can't predict 1 or 2, because I feel like, knowing now with the Bucs schedule only have one team left that has a winning record, that could scare trouble for Falcons fans. That means I feel like 1 and 2 could go either way. I really do. I feel like 1 or 2 could go either way at this point. I don't know what the Falcons schedule looks like the rest of the way. It's really going to come down to the Kirk Cousins showing up game in and game out for them to finish the season strong, for real.
Yeah, and the Falcons do have the harder remaining strength of the schedule compared to the Buccaneers, so that's definitely something to watch. But speaking of the Bucs, James, let's go over to you. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think the Bucs can still finish at 1?
Yeah, I mean, look, to be honest with you guys, taking a look at where it is right now, it's hard to not say that this is how it's going to finish, right? Let's start at the bottom with the Carolina Panthers. I do think that I agree with Clay. I think they have a lot of good momentum on their side. I think they will get a couple more wins under their belt. It's just they started off the season so bad, right? For lack of a better way of putting it, that if the season would have kept on going, right? In terms of having like 6-7 more weeks, something like that, I think they would keep on building and having momentum. But with only 6 games left, I think that, they still have a couple more wins under their belt, but I agree with Clay where 6 wins, I think, is a good number for them. With the Saints, look, they're moving up as well. I could see them finishing with around 7 wins. They've got some good momentum on their side as well. In the case of the Falcons and the Bucs, and I know some people are going to say, James, what the heck are you talking about? Have the Falcons going number 1. Folks, this is why I mentioned that it was so bad that the Bucs got swept by the Falcons, because those are tiebreakers, folks. And also it's going to matter for the Bucs and Saints. Like right now, the Bucs have the tiebreaker over the Saints. So those types of things matter. That's why divisional games are so important. And we put so much emphasis on them whenever we do talk about those types of games when they come up here on the roundtable, because right now the Falcons still have a ton of in-division momentum, right? They're 4-0 in the division. That 100% matters, 100%. Do they have a tough schedule along the way? Yes, they do. But those division games, or sorry, 4-1 in the division. My apologies. They did lose to the Saints there. But point being is this, the Falcons still have the momentum on their side. Again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Like, unless the Falcons have a really bad collapse, I think that it's still their division to lose. I think even if they go like 4-2, even 3-3 down the way, I think a 9-8 record might be good enough to win this division. Whenever you factor in all the tiebreakers and whatnot. So we'll see ultimately, right? But ultimately, I think today, I would still take the Falcons at 1. The Bucs finish exactly what it is right now is how I think it's going to finish.
All right, Smitty, what about you? You're at the top right now. Do you stay there?
For the most part, I think so. 4-2 is where I have them on the back half of their schedule. This upcoming week against the Chargers, one of the games that I was worried about. The other game that I probably would worry about is that Monday night game against Las Vegas. You're traveling all the way to Las Vegas, then you got a game that Sunday. So they're going to be a little tired going into that game, but it's the Giants, so it won't matter. But the Carolina Panthers, New Orleans Saints, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers, all three of those teams have momentum. And even though they say Carolina is out of the race, I still think they can win three games down the stretch. But Tampa Bay, that's one team, and I told y'all before, they're not out of the race until they're out of the race. They're going to battle the Falcons all the way up to week 17, I think. So that would be one team I would be worried about catching us. The Saints, they've gained a little momentum with the coaching change, like TJ has been saying the last couple of weeks. Sometimes you just need a new voice. And honestly, I'm gonna say that about the Falcons. They need a new defensive coordinator voice. I would love a Jerry Gray or Raheem Morris to take over the play calling. If they do that, I think the defense does a complete 360. Sometimes the players won't play for certain coaches because they don't understand the scheme. We brought in Justin Simmons. I don't think he understands the scheme because he's always out of place. So sometimes, change is just necessary. If they make the necessary changes during the bye week, guess what? We get back to seeing that Falcons team that won 4 straight at one point. And if we get back to seeing that, I think the Falcons could easily win 11 games.
All right. And let's go on over to you, TJ. You're in third place right now. Wrap us up with your thoughts on these standings.
Well, look, I feel like as a Saint fan, as an onlooker, I mean, they pretty much playing with house money at this point. I mean, nobody really expects anything from them as of right now. I mean, you fired your head coach, you got an interim coach, and right now the team is playing inspired, and they seem like they're pretty motivated. And I think you're starting to see a couple of guys come back. I think earlier in the season, the Saints lost a lot of key players, man, and they were already pretty top heavy. So those guys are starting to come back. So I think you'll start to see a little bit of an improvement with them, like going down the stretch. I think that they'll probably end up winning a game that they shouldn't. I look at Atlanta Falcons. I'll start with them. Man, they got 2 tough games coming up. I mean, you got the Chargers, who they played pretty well, man. I know they lost on Monday night versus the Ravens, but they're a really good football team. Justin Herbert been playing inspired. They got a really good pass rush, and that can be tough for a guy like Kirk Cousins, that's a stationary target. Then he's going against his former team, the Vikings. That can be an emotional return. I mean, everybody knows where the bodies are buried, so that might be a tough game for him as well. But and they also have to play the Commanders. They kind of sputtered down the stretch, but I think that that's still a good football team. As far as Tampa, they got the easiest road, but I think they got a few games that could possibly be slip-ups. Now, you may think that I'm crazy, but I'm just saying, like, I know you're talking about the Giants, and I'm saying, like, teams playing against the Giants in the future, but I think about Atlanta playing them, and I think about New Orleans playing them. I really feel like this Thursday might be Brian Daboll's last game. I really feel that way. I think the only reason why he didn't get fired is because it's a Thursday game and it's a short week. Do not be surprised if they get blew out by the Cowboys, he gets fired. And we've seen what happened with the New Orleans Saints. When you get yourself a new interim coach, you get that bump, and guys start to be a little bit more inspired. Guys start to see more targets, start playing a little bit more free. They'd start turning into trap games. So I just want to put that out there. But all in all, I just think that I think that the way that the standings are right now, they're probably going to stay that way. I think that you're probably going to see some better football from the Saints and from Carolina. I think that you're probably going to see a little bit of improvement with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I think when it comes to Atlanta, I think they pretty much separated themselves early in the season enough for them to actually go through some of those growing pains, but, teeter to the finish line, so I think it's pretty much going to stay the same. I think it will be, but I think that all the teams here are going to improve because you have some key players coming back, and you also have a little bit more, positive things going forward with Carolina, the Saints, and even with Tampa with Mike Evans coming back.
For sure. Well, all right, guys, this is where we want to kick it to. We want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the standings? What are your thoughts on the matchups from week 12 from the Panthers and the Buccaneers? Let us know in the comment section below. Again, big shout out to BetUS. Make sure you guys use that promo code YouTube150 to get a 150% sign up bonus on your first deposit, followed by 125% sign up bonus on your next 2 deposits, all the way up to $2,000. That's going to cap it for today's show. Again, we appreciate you guys so much for watching. We got to hop on over and do our pre-recorded video. Yes, the pre-recorded video is still happening. That'll drop for you guys probably early day Thursdays, usually when those videos drop, so you can expect it then. A little Thanksgiving treat for you guys, but as always, happy holidays. Please be safe out there. Don't do anything stupid, but until next time, we are signing off here for the NFC South Roundtable. See you guys next week.